Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to make this beautiful cowl bubu dress with V neckline and a fancy design in front. If this is what you like to learn, please watch to the end of this video. I also want to thank all my returning subscribers. I appreciate you all, and if this is your first time seeing my video, you're welcome. Please click on the subscribe button to subscribe now if you haven't subscribed to this channel, and don't forget to click the like button to like this video. Let's get started. So for this project, I will be using my fringe. I have my crepe fabric, and I also have my Kampala fabric. That's the main fabric I'll be using today. So I folded my fabric into 4. I measured the length along the yardage and folded that into 2, and then further folded that into 2 again, making it 4. And I've ruled out a line on top which would act as my shoulder line. So from that shoulder line, I measured length 33 inches and also ruled a line across 33 inches. I will be explaining that later. And then from that shoulder line, I also measured length 59 inches, which is the length of the dress, plus extra 2 inches hemming allowance. That's the total length I have for this dress. And for the width, I measured 22 inches. My fabric unfold, I have a width of 22 inches. On the shoulder line, I'm going to take a measurement of 3 inches. From the center front, I measure 3 inches, and then from the center front again, I'm going to measure half of the shoulder measurement. The shoulder measurement I'm working with in this video is 17, divided by 2 is 8.5. I would note that. Then from that 8.5, I'm going to measure the length I want for the sleeve. I want the sleeve length to be 12 inches, and to that I will also be adding extra 1.5 inches for hemming allowance. So this is a bubu dress. It's cut in form of kimono. The sleeve and the shoulder are cut together. So at that point, I'm coming down by 1.5 inches. At the length of the sleeve, I came down by 1.5 inches for the shoulder slope, and I'll be connecting that to the 3 inches point I noted before. So I'm going to connect this for the shoulder slope. I'm also going to take the shoulder joining allowance. I'm taking 1/2 inch allowance for joining the front shoulder to the back shoulder, joining the front and the back together. So I've connected the points I've made. Then from the shoulder slope, I'm going to take my sleeve opening. The sleeve circumference I'm working with here is 18 inches, divided by 2 is 9 inches, and to the 9 inches I added extra 1 inch for joining allowance. So I measured 10 inches from the shoulder slope. So from that point, I came in by 1.5 inches, which is the hemming allowance. As you can see, that is what I've just done. I measured inward 1.5 inches. On the 33 inches line I ruled, this is where I want the cowl to start. This is not a standard. You can measure anywhere from the hip to the knee length. So on this line, I'm going to impute 11 inches, which is quarter of the hip measurement, plus extra 4 inches, 3 inches for ease, and 1 inch sewing allowance. So I'm going to check what I have, which is 15 inches, and I'm going to bring down this measurement down to the length of this dress. At the 59 inches length, I'm going to impute exactly what I had on the 33 inches length, which is 15 inches. Then I'm going to connect from the sleeve opening, this point, the 10 inches I came down for the sleeve opening. I'm going to make a curve with my free hand to meet the measurement I have on the 33 inches length. So you can see what I'm doing. I use my free hand to connect that. Then I'm going to use a straight line to connect from this 33 inches point to the measurement at the length of the dress. So I'm going to connect. Remember that what I have at the 33 inches length is also what I have at the hem of the dress. So I'm going to connect this measurement with a straight line, just as I'm showing you. For the neckline, I'll be taking a neck width of 3 inches. So the neck width for the front and the back are the same. Then for the neck depth of the back, I'll be taking 1.5 inches, and I'm going to use my free hand to make a curve for the back neckline. So I won't be taking the front neckline until I've cut out this dress and removed the back piece. So I'll be attaching a pocket, an inner pocket to this dress. So I'm going to be measuring the length where I want to attach the pocket. So from the start, from the shoulder, I'm going to measure 16.5 inches. That's where I want the pocket to be, and I'm going to notch this point so that it will reflect on both the front and the back. So after that, I'm going to remove the back piece and then cut out the front neckline. For the front neckline, I'm going to take a neck depth of 8 inches. So I've already removed 1.5 inches. So I would place my tape, as you can see, removing 1.5 inches and measuring 8 inches. That's the neck depth for the front. So at this 8 inches point, I'm going to come inward from the center front. I'm going to go inward by 1 inch. So you can see what I have. I came in by 1 inch, and then from there I'm going to connect back to the neck width. You can see what I'm doing. Then this will be cut off, and that would be for the front neckline. So after cutting out the neckline at this angle formed here, at this point I'm going to go inward by 1/2 inch. You can see what I measured, 1/2 inch inward, and I'm going to notch that 1/2 inch. I'm cutting through by 1/2 inch so that this point here will be movable. Okay, you can see what I have. All right. Now the next thing I'm going to do now will be to join the front and the back by the shoulder. I'm going to place them right sides facing each other and use 1/2 inch to sew them by the shoulder. For the pockets, I've folded my fabric into 4 to cut 4 pieces for the 2 pockets. So I'm going to measure a length of 8 inches up and 8 inches for the width, and I'm just making a curve for the pockets. So you need 2 pieces for each pocket. So I'll be cutting out 4 pieces, 2 pieces for each pocket, and in total I have 4 pieces for the 2 pockets. I have joined the front and the back by the shoulder, and I've ironed open the seam. So next thing is going to be to measure around what I have on the neckline. I'm going to measure from one notched part in front to the other end of the notch. So you can see how I'm measuring from one point where I notched at the front to the other notched end. So I'm going to take my time and measure all round. You can see how I'm taking the measurement. So I would measure till I get to the other end, and when I measured I had 26.5 inches, 26.5 inches. That's what I have. So I'm going to use this to cut out the band that will be fixed on the neck. So I've cut out a strip of band. The width is 4.5 inches. When you put it on fold, you have 2.25 inches, and for the length, to be the length I measured from the neck, 26.5 inches plus extra 2 to 4 inches to that. You can trim off the excesses after joining to the neckline. Okay, so I'll trim out whatever excesses I have. It's better to have excess than not having enough. And to this strip, I'm going to iron interfacing to it. So I've ironed my band into two parts along the length. Okay, so I folded it into 2 equal parts. I'm going to find the midpoint and notch it. I'm going to notch it, as you can see. So this notch part, I'm going to find the midpoint of the back, the center back. I can easily locate it because of the crease line I've ironed on the center back. So I'm going to pin this strip now, starting from that center back, the crease line. I'm pinning the notched part of the band to the crease line. So I'm going to pin from that point towards the front on one side till I get to the notch I have at the front, and I'll do the same for the other part. And I'm pinning from the right side. The band is on the right side of this dress, so I'm going to pin and show you. So I've pinned them together. You can see what I have. I'm going to sew them together like this using 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'll sew from one notched end in front to the other notched end. So I've sewn them together. You can see what I have. I've sewn everything together. So I'm going to push this in towards the back, the excess I have on the band, towards the wrong side of the dress. And then you can see this part, because I notched it, you can see this part is movable. You can fold it in or out. So I'm folding that part inward as well, so it goes to the back part. So you can see, because of the notch, this can easily move to the back, that piece there. So I'm going to join them together at the back part. Okay, so I'm going to arrange it very well properly. I'm going to arrange it well and then sew them together, this piece of the Kampala with the two pieces of the band. I'm pinning them together. So I'm going to go to the sewing machine and hold them together. I'm going to sew them together at this point as I'm showing you. I'll do that and show you the next thing. So for this fancy design in front, I've cut out a black piece of fabric. So I've ironed the interface into it. I have a length of 12 inches and a width of 10 inches. On fold, I have 5 inches of width. Okay, so what I'm going to do now will be at this open edge, as I folded it at this open edge, I'm going to come up by 1.5 inches. So I measured up by 1.5 inches and I'm connecting down towards the center as I'm demonstrating. Okay, so I went up by 1.5 inches and connected to the tip as shown, right? Because this is the shape I want. Okay, it's almost like the shape, it's like the shape on the thumbnail. So but you can decide to leave yours as a rectangle. So I'm cutting this out because I want to have this kind of shape. This is what I have. So what I'm going to do now is go and iron in 1/2 inch on all sides. This measurement I have includes my seam allowance, so I'll iron in 1/2 inch on all sides. I've joined these points, the points at the back. I'm going to trim off the excess. I've trimmed off the excess I have there. So the next thing now will be to attach this design in front. I've ironed in the 1/2 inch all round. I would fold this into 2 equal parts to find the midpoint. I would use my chalk to note the midpoint on this black piece. Then on my fabric, on my dress, I already have a crease line for the center front as well. I ironed a line there. So I'm going to place this point I've noted with the chalk as the center. I'm placing it to touch the crease line so that this design will be at the center of this dress. So I'll go on and pin this to the dress first of all before I start sewing. So you can see I've pinned it down to the front parts. Okay, also take note that this black design should overlap the black design on the neckline, so there will be no gap in between. To attach the fringe, I've measured what I have at the lower part of this design in front, and I had about 10 inches, and I want to double the fringe, so I'll multiply that by 2, and that will give me 20 inches. So I would cut out 20 inches of length for the fringe, and I would fold them into 2. I will double it, and then I'm going to place it underneath this black design. Okay, the braided part of the fringe will be underneath this black design, and I'm going to pin it just the way I've pinned this other part. Then I'll go to the sewing machine and top stitch all this pinned area. I'm going to top stitch all around the black design, including where I have the fringe under. Okay, I've attached this. As I said, I've top stitched this. So the next thing now will be to hem the sleeve opening. I'm going to fold in 1/2 inch and then 1 inch because I left 1.5 inches allowance. So after that, I'm going to attach my pocket pieces. At that notched part, I notched at 16 inches of length. So I'm going to pick 2 pieces. I'm going to place them, one on the right side of the front part from that notch part, and the other one at the right side of the back piece. I would sew with 1/4 inch and top stitch towards the pocket side. I'll do that for the other side of the dress as well. So I've done that. I've hemmed the sleeves, I've attached the pocket pieces. The next thing now will be to sew the sides closed. I'll sew with 1 inch seam allowance. When I get to the pocket side, I'll sew with 1/2 inch of allowance, and I'll sew till down, and the lower part I'm going to hem it. The hem of the dress I'm going to hem with the allowance I left for it. And also I'm not going to sew all through. I'm going to leave some inches for the slit. I want slit on 2 sides of the dress, so the slit length will be 14 inches excluding the hemming allowance. So I will do all this and show you. So here I've done everything. I've sewn the sides. Okay, at the underarm area, remember to notch, okay, so that it relaxes well at that part. Immediately after the sleeve, you have to notch so that it relaxes well. I've hemmed the lower part, and I also left the slits opening. I have about 14 inches like I said before for my slits, and I've hemmed the lower part. So this is what, remember to overlock the rough edges inside the dress so that it looks neat inside. And this is the front part. This is what this dress looks like. We've come to the end of this beautiful and easy to follow tutorial. Thank you guys for watching. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you're yet to subscribe, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Bye.